Are you ready to get going?
Sure.
I am ready. I am ready. Are you ready? You're ready?
Absolutely.
We're going to take,
Awesome.
like, what I
I'm
usually
excited.
do at home is we go like, shh.
Yeah, we're like...
And then I start talking, and it's really funny and shit. It's awesome. But now, what's up, everybody? It's the second installment of That Anime Show at YuleCon.
Yeah.
Welcome back. For those of you who were, everybody was here for the first installment, right?
I think so.
Yeah, almost everybody.
Raise your hand if you weren't. Okay, Hello Kitty Man wasn't. So catch
Hello,
people up.
Kitty Man.
Hello Kitty Man.
Hello, Kitty Man.
I like you. But I really like your hoodie. It makes me
It's
happy.
really
It rocks.
Sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Or I think he's being nice and helpful.
Oh, you're
people.
working the
Oh, he's
door.
working the door.
He's awesome.
Okay.
You're very helpful. Thank
He's
you.
working
We love
staff
you.
out.
We love you.
He's
Thank
doing
you, Hello
staff
Kitty
stuff.
Man.
So this is 18 and up.
This is 18 and
Yes,
up, so,
18 and
well, other than Hello Kitty Man. I think they all know that. See? And he was here too. So, yeah. We're 18 and up. We cuss and the door is shut. We do a lot of fucking cussing.
You know, Terri.
Damn, we do.
You know, Terri. I've always thought that profanity was the linguistic crutch of illiterate motherfuckers.
It
So,
fucking is. My
yeah,
first
I'm
words,
all set to go.
no joke, were fuck it, so I don't fucking care.
Do you know what my first curse word was ever? I've
Yes.
told you this story before.
I'm like,
Have I
yes,
told
why are you
No, you
asking
haven't.
me? I know.
It was only because I didn't know what it meant.
Uh-oh.
And my brother, who's quite a bit older than I am, went through a phase as a teenager, and of course I was still very little, where he could not pass by a reflective surface without checking himself out in it. Doesn't matter. Mirror, toaster, the sink, didn't matter. And
Sink?
yeah, we had very nice things. But we had very nice. We lived in
Look at this sink.
we
Shit.
lived in a Luby's.
Look at
Leave me
this
the
guy.
fuck alone. So it was a hard life. But so my grandmother, okay, we were having dinner. Oh my God, people are joining us that are cool.
Yes, really cool people.
What the fuck, man? What about
That is
these
Ian
people?
Sinclair coming in.
So
Thank you,
so
sweetheart. Oh, God,
he was-
Carly Mosier just brought me a soda.
We were over at my
Coke.
grandmother's place for Sunday dinner, right? And because that's what we did, and it was all very, everyone was on their best behavior at Mimi's house. And my brother, after washing his hands, comes to the table, checks his mullet out. Yes, he had a mullet. Checks his mullet out in a toaster. I swear to God, a toaster on the kitchen counter as he's walking to the breakfast nook where we were about to eat. And my grandmother looks at him and she just starts going, I have never seen a young man primp and preen like you do. You're like a girl. And I thought I would chime in with my 2 cents and say, yeah, you're such a cocksucker.
That is
Now, in my mind's eye, I
Wow.
thought, what? I just said he was primping and preening like a peacock, right? That's what the phrase. And I was like, no,
Why did
apparently
you say peacock?
I sucked at Wheel of Fortune.
Not like that fucking woman, okay? Has everyone seen this video?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, yeah, where she's like, I'd like to buy an L. They're like, L. She's like, can I go in and solve it? And Pat's like, what? She's like, I've got a good feeling about it. And then, she's like, yes, that's correct. And you see that guy right next to her is like, you bitch. And she's like, I had a good feeling.
No.
Like the phrase.
No, and you see, in that situation, if there is like 8 words on the board and you have 1 letter and someone goes, I'd like to solve it, they're a suicide bomber. They're about to do something really dramatic.
Yeah.
They're like, I'd like to solve it.
No!
Get him
Someone
down.
say Vanna!
There's another YouTube clip that you can look up that is Richard Dawson on Family Feud, who gets so tickled at the woman's answer he can't even get the questions out.
What?
It is brilliant. It is you've got to look for it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It is.
Yes,
it's really.
it makes me so
I just
happy.
realized we didn't even introduce you.
It's okay. I'm just a jerk with a big cup.
The jerk with a big cup. I am very excited to have this guest
Chris
on. He's one of my very dear friends
Hold
and
on,
a huge
hold on.
influence on me.
Chris Ayres.
Chris Ayres.
Yes.
Welcome. Everyone give him a little bit of something. Everyone give him a little bit of something.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about cosplaying as you, but I was going to make my cup really just like a giant trash can with a handle on it and just drag it everywhere, but then I realized the doors would be...
Well, just so the
You know,
proportions would be
there are
right.
actually people that have cosplayed as me that have been like Michael's height, and they get small garbage cans to make it proportional. Yeah. There's actually, I'm very excited. There's a guy named Thomas Auslander at OhioCon every year. Who always cosplays as me. Mm-hmm. And he is apparently working on a steampunk version of me for OhioCon this year, so I cannot wait to see it. It's very cool.
It's cool that you got cosplay.
Yeah,
I've
it's
had
really-
one, and I'm like, that's really good. I mean, I'm sure she was very rude the entire time, but yeah.
Never.
But yeah.
Not at all.
But yes.
You're fabulous.
You're fabulous.
No, you're
So
fabulous.
glad. I wanted you to do this with us, Frank.
I have. I've been wanting to do this with you guys for a long time.
Because Chris and I, like, we see each other occasionally. If he comes
I do have to give Terry a warning. Real quick before you do this.
Sorry.
Michael and I could at any moment denigrate into a 20-minute discussion about Shakespeare, so please stop us if we start.
Oh, no, don't worry. I got it.
Good. Okay. That, according to Josh
This
Greeley...
ain't my first rodeo, motherfucker.
According to Josh Greeley and Joshua, when we go out to dinner, about 10 minutes pass, and then it becomes a Shakespeare lesson for about 30 minutes, and then we get back to topics.
And then your food's cold, and then you wonder why.
I don't get it.
I know. I've never had a warm meal.
I love that Two-Face right there. I love that costume.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nicely done.
Isn't that great?
Nicely done.
There's been some awesome
cosplay.
I saw a murder face from Metalocalypse, and I just went, oh my god, look at him.
I saw Dr. Doom today. It was very cool.
I saw my favorite. Okay, so far, and there's been a lot of cosplayers, but I'm a huge Doctor Who fan.
Yes.
And there's always some awesome Doctor Who cosplayers. There's one over there.
Troughton right there.
Troughton, the second Doctor, who's awesome.
Hello there. Hello, Doctor.
That's not his real hair.
But it looks really good.
But it looks great. But no, we saw, because I've never ever seen this. Paul McGann played the Doctor in a little TV movie they did in 1996. It was really not that good of a movie, but really Paul McGann was so good in it as the Doctor, and his look was really neat. He had sort of this
Byron-esque.
Yeah, Byron-esque. Thank you for that word.
Not a problem.
Awesome. And he had
smile,
the hair and the locks. He was
everybody.
very, very wonderful looking, sort of classical, romantic looking, brooding hero. And somebody played the Eighth Doctor, and I've never seen that before.
I've never seen
so
that.
Awesome,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Really, it really.
That was great.
It really excited me.
Great.
I was on...
Oh, the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat as the Haberdasher. Wow.
I was on an autograph signing thing with Tia, and there was, a tenant doctor sitting right next to us. And, of course, Tia and I were just like, do you want our autograph? But it was really just me because Tia, I think, just left. And she's like, if anyone needs my autograph, there's my coat. But
I'll be in my trailer taking a nap.
She sat down for a second. She's like, I just want to know who are you supposed to be? And the guy goes, and I went, you don't have to answer her. You should know better. And she's like, I'm like, it's Doctor Who. She's like, oh, I don't care.
We need to indoctrinate
you should.
her.
There are cute guys in it, as
That
well
girl
as like plot and all that shit.
We need to indoctrinate her.
That's a wonderful. You should,
some really
you should write the
cute
blurbs for that show. Terry writes the back of a
shit.
DVD. There's plot and shit in
There's
it.
a reason I'm not in the DVD department at work. You should see this. Oh, it's awesome. There's this one scene. Never mind. Watch it. I mean, buy it right now.
Yeah.
It's got plot and shit.
Quote, Terri Doty. That's one of my favorite quotes from our Halloween episode. It's Jean-Luc Hester and Jamie Markey talking about the Lady of the Lake or something like that.
Yeah.
And has everyone heard this episode? And it's just, well, if she's got gummy bears, yeah, go ahead and pick her up. And then Jamie goes, well, if not, I don't know. And Jean-Luc goes, leave that wet bitch alone.
Ouch.
You just fuck her.
Leave that wet bitch alone. There's another trope for the bumper sticker.
Jean-Luc Hester. Leave that wet bitch alone.
We leave that wet bitch alone.
Oh, weave that lip bitch.
Leave that let bitch alone. What did I just say?
I don't know.
I don't remember. What?
Weavable.
So, but back to our lovely guest.
I wasn't following any of them going, huh?
It's okay. It's normal.
I was looking at you guys like a dog that had been shown a card trick. I'm like, huh?
So how have you been? Have you been enjoying the con?
I've been having a wonderful I love this con. Kind of like my brother, I like small shows where I get to hang out with people.
Yeah.
And get to hang out and talk to anime fans and make new friends. The big shows are a lot of fun. Just because there's a huge dealer's room that I'm usually so busy I never get to go in. But you get shuffled around and you don't get to spend any time. There are a couple where you get in trouble. If you end up out on the floor with people, they'll send security to go, you need to go back, get back to the green room. And I don't like that. I like to spend my time. In fact, I was having this conversation with the staff at BakuretsuCon 4 weeks ago. Yeah, because I'm at the end of the 4-week convention run. And they were saying, oh, wow, your phone book just must be filled with voice actors and actresses. I'm like, no, actually. And I went through 6 pages, and literally I'll just do the first 2. Con staff, convention attendee, convention staff, a friend of mine that I went to college with, my waitress from my favorite restaurant, the old number for ADV, con chair, a con staff, attendee, con staff, attendee. Literally, you have to go about 6 pages before you get to a voice actor. And it's just like, and they're like, you really have like attendees and staff? And I'm like, yeah, they're my friends. So, I love to go out and get to, when I find somebody that we can connect about things, it's always great to make a new friend. So
yeah.
And that's the great thing about
Awesome
conventions.
people.
You
Yes,
always meet the
absolutely.
most fascinating and just intriguing
Amazing
and really
people.
cool people. I'd love it.
absolutely.
So, I guess
A needle pulling thread.
How did the rest of it go?
Law and it follows so. Tea, a drink with jam and bread, which will bring us back to. Uh-oh, we've lost Terry again.
That's not even Shakespeare.
It's not Shakespeare. It's Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Boring.
Oh, we're going to be doing this to Terry all night.
Thank you.
This is going to be called Torment Terry Night.
I need this.
He's getting back at me for the Eric Weir show, which was just me and Eric going,
Oh my
speak
God.
English, dude, not
Oh.
like English.
What is this? Horrible,
They
that
threatened to
show.
replace it with
I
Eric.
love
He's like,
the
don't
two
you
of you.
dare.
I love you and I love Eric Vale, but that was like getting raped by a cougar in a fucking telephone booth.
Awesome. Why? Okay.
Michael ended up crying like a virgin being raped by a chainsaw.
I'm so glad the door was open for that.
I didn't say a single bad word. Virgin, rape, and chainsaw are not profanity. I just happened to put them together in a very interesting way. So
It's
there.
Never goes like,
Conceptual
yeah, it was like
profanity.
blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, it was like something
Yes,
that I
you're-
really was not looking forward to, but it still happened.
Conceptual profanity. I like that.
Actual profanity. Sorry, you were saying.
Cougar telephone booth, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's start. And I'm going to start strong.
Uh-oh.
Here is a comment/question.
Uh-oh, a comment. That's always
From one of
we
my,
hate you.
One of my favorite regulars of that anime show's
Who?
chat room, and also the artist of our logo, Steve Yurko.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got-
Steve.
Yurko. All right, so I don't know why. It's like for a better world. I don't know.
We won't
All
blame
right.
blame him for breaking up the Beatles. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, man. Okay, so here's Steve saying, I just want to comment, Chris, on his... Chris, on his phenomenal performance as Frieza in Dragon Ball Z Kai. Chris, you have certainly surpassed the hype for your role. Your portrayal is creepy and cocky yet dignified. It's disturbing how at times he sounds like he switches genders. Also, major props to giving form a different voice with ease. Can you give any details on what it's like becoming Frieza?
Yeah, I will say I've said this time and time again. I'm having a wonderful time, and you will never ever hear me say anything bad about Linda. I think she did a remarkable job for a long time, and Linda really, really loved that role.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it was evident, yeah.
Yeah, it's very obvious, and if you heard her talk about it, it was obvious how much she loved that role. And so that's never an easy thing to pass the torch on.
Were you worried about that?
I was a little worried, especially when her son came in to record, and I was like, and then I found out that they both really liked what I had done, and that made me feel a lot better, and they were both very complimentary, and that made me feel a little better. But I will say, as wonderful as it is, it was nice because, for the most part, I get used down here.
Yeah.
Especially with a lot of the villains, is right down here. Well, the problem is, everything with Frieza's up here. Which, Christopher Sabat said, wow, you sound like Judi Dench. So if he ever needs a Judi Dench type role, I hope that he will remember that.
Remark.
Yes.
Also good for chicks.
Yeah, also good for old British ladies. But I will say, once we settled on the voice, and we tried a couple of takes, so much of what is wonderful about that role, and Sabat and I have talked about it, is the writing. And so much of the writing,
definitely.
so much of the writing on that is Tatum. And the nice thing is, and Tatum and I talked about this, when he writes a lot of times, he will, if a role hasn't been cast, he will just say, oh, well, I think so-and-so would be good. And he would kind of write with that actor's dynamics. He will never tell the director that. And so he was like, who can I see as Frieza? And he goes, Chris. And in fact, when Joshua looked at the script, he goes, that's Chris Ayres. When he just looked at the dialogue. And so then Sabat goes, I'm thinking about using Chris Ayres for this. And
it's a really good set, by the way.
Thank you very much. So when Sabat went to Michael was like, oh my gosh, that's who I've had in my head when I'm writing it. So Michael knows that I've got a background in classical theater, so he gave me all of this incredibly rich language to chew on, and it was written so nicely in terms of syncing up to the flaps that I had time to play and to milk moments and to milk lines, and it really is. It's been the only case I've ever had as a voice actor where, because the writer just happened to have written with my kind of cadence and what I bring in mind, it really was like coming in and having something that had been tailor-made to all of your strengths as a voice actor and none of your weaknesses. So really, it's, as much fun as I had, and that for me was the amazing thing, because I thought everything I was doing was hysterically funny. I thought, God, this is hysterically funny. This is just completely silly. And people are going to be howling. And then Michael goes, oh, my God, I heard you. You're so creepy. And then Monica's like, wow. And then Raleigh's like, I couldn't sleep that night. And everybody's going, God, it is so creepy. And I'm like, no, it's funny. It's really, I swear, it's funny. And they're like, no, it's creepy. It's really creepy.
True story, if I can break in for a moment, because I love telling this, because I did totally have Chris in mind when I wrote it, just to guide me as a writer, because the writer has no right to come to the directing booth and say, I think this is who should be cast. It's not our job. But it just helps me to write with someone in mind, and I kept thinking, I'm like, this is Chris was the voice in my head, and it's so gratifying to as a writer I had a lot of fun writing for Frieza, because I got to write for I'd say probably a majority, probably 80% of Frieza's dialogue was writing. My stuff. Some of the 70 to 80%, so quite a bit. And it was so gratifying to come in when I got cast later as Zarbon, and he had already laid down track on it, and it scared the piss out of me, because I'm like, and I should have been prepared for this, because I'm like, I've been hearing this shit in my head for months now anyway. But to have it there, in fact, it was really funny. The first day you went in to record, he took a break.
Oh, I did. My first break.
First break, he called me, and because I was still asleep at like noon,
because you can do that when you're a writer.
Writing, and he left me a voicemail message, which I still have.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, I've saved. I'm never getting rid of that fucker. Of him in his Frieza voice saying, "Oh, hello, J. Michael Tatum. It's me. I just thought I'd tell you it's wonderful working with your scripts," and I peed myself.
Well, on that same vein, no pun intended.
Peeing yourself?
Yeah, totally.
It's a whole subject on Michael's urine.
Love it. It's also a request to hear Frieza bickering with Zarbon.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Really? Is that where did somebody write that? I want to see. That's Terri just fucking with us.
Look, motherfucker!
Oh damn!
Well, what should we?
I don't know.
Well, you're the boss. You tell me what to do.
Yay!
Zarbon.
Yes, Lord Frieza.
What on earth do you think you're doing?
I'm just trying on new briefs.
No, you ignorant worm.
But I thought you'd like this color.
It's not that. How are you going to dance in pants that tight?
Well, I was hoping not to have to dance all that long.
Once again, your incompetence supersedes your obnoxious trait of futzing with your hair. Oh, now Tatum's got the giggles.
I just lost a bead of pee.
Well, don't point that thing this way. Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
It is about
wasn't so much bickering. so much bickering.
It sounded more like a lover's spat. Like, you're wearing that again.
Okay, come on. The Frieza team is kind of the intergalactic drag show.
It totally
is.
It totally is. Oh my God.
That was great, you guys.
That was.
We actually, Josh Greeley and I last week did. It was somebody asked for us to argue as Frieza and Kyohei from the Wallflower, and it was just like, what? Okay, so we did, but it was just weird. Then Michael just peed a little more.
It's been a steady stream for about the past 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
Very sorry. These pants were light blue.
They were light blue.
But yeah, if I may just say, I am enormously proud of that show and getting to work on it in the capacity I did as both a writer with a great team of writers, by the way. John Bergmeyer, the lead writer, also Tien, amazing lead. I love his stuff. I have learned so much from him. Joel McDonald wrote a lot on that show.
Didn't Joel write most of the Mecha Frieza stuff?
He did, indeed.
And which I just finished recording not long ago. It was phenomenal.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man, Joel.
And it's good. I mean, I know. He was around. He likes to creep around. But that show is so awesome to get to work on. But there is nothing as gratifying as a writer writing dialogue and then having an actor deliver it. I see it 6 months later, having an actor deliver it and know exactly what you meant as a writer. Because you only have so much you can do. You can only italicize
so many words
before you're like, I hope he knows this is how this should be read. I really does. And Chris just got it.
Well, it was in all honesty, and I don't want to turn this into ooh, but it really was word choice. It comes down to, like we've talked about before, word choice and character voice. And it was great. I walked in and the voice was already there, written right there in the text. And I was like, great, let's rock and roll. I know where we need to go. And Chris was great. Chris, every now and again, Chris would go, okay, that is not the read that I would have directed out of you, but that is really interesting. And I'm going to keep that because I never in a million years would have thought of that. And I'm like, is that good? He's like, no, it's good. It's good. Where'd that come from? I'm like, it's on the page. It's right there. I just saw it and did it.
Oh my God!
And I loved working with him. I loved working with him.
Well, yeah, Chris and Raleigh and the team that work on it are so. I mean, that show is.
Hey, I had dinner with them.
Yay! Hi guys.
Yay!
But that show has been part of everyone that works on the show. It's been a part of most of our lives for a very long time, especially in the case of Chris.
Actually, I had never seen the show.
And stuff. Well, yeah, you were new.
I had never seen the show. Actually. And Sabat goes, "Don't watch anything." Don't watch anything. I want this. He wanted a completely fresh take based solely on what I was seeing. So then it was really hard. Cool. Then I wanted to.
It's really cool to get to work on something like that and to see it come together. It's one of those dream projects. Mm-hmm. So moving on from that, because I know we can talk forever about that and our experiences.
And I told Terry goes, now this could go long or it could go short. However you want. I said, I'm long-winded. It doesn't matter to me.
And we all know how winded I am.
That's not what I was talking about, but whatever.
I thought it was the other guy in the bookstore that was winded, not you.
That man.
He was greatly winded.
It was like a trumpet.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I'm surprised the books on the shelf behind him didn't fly off.
It's like the library at the beginning of Ghostbusters.
Really
Oh my God.
There was. Oh, here it is. This is something I wanted to talk about because this is actually one of my favorite things that you've worked on, and you worked on this show in several capacities. One of our forum regulars, Leticia, asks, and I'll kind of summarize. She asks about Gantz.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And which is
love
actually.
That show.
I've always been impressed with your work, incidentally, ever since we've known each other. It's very true. And Gantz may be one of my most favorite shows that I've seen you do. And that's a hard favorite to choose because there are many, but I just think it's a great show. She kind of asks, was it difficult to relate to such dark characters and to that material? I mean, talk about your experience working on that show, both as the lead and as the director.
No, I didn't direct Gantz.
I thought you didn't.
No, Matt Greenfield. Matt Greenfield directed Gantz.
That's right. Okay, my bad.
No. I would never have cast myself in the lead. I would never have directed myself. I'd have.
That's right. We talked about that
on the directing.
That's right.
I love the show. Matt would not told all of us not to watch anything because he wanted real. He would always record as we were previewing the violence, and he wanted to see. He just wanted a natural reaction. Well, that was fine. Ilyich would watch it and be like, ugh. then he'd kind of have to process what he had seen. And, okay. Shannon, who played Kishimoto, was mortified, because violence is just not a part of her. And hers was always this very disgusted reaction. Matt failed to take into account that I'm a horror movie fanatic. And so we'd preview it and I'd go, oh, badass! And he'd be like, great, cool. Okay, yeah, okay, now can we go ahead and act? And I'm like, yeah. No, I love that show for a variety of reasons. I love the fact that the hero is incredibly flawed.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he is not, he's very much an anti-hero. He is cowardly, constantly horny, whines, complains, bitches and moans. It's a lot like me.
So you're perfect for them.
Yeah, exactly. Now I see why they cast me. And he's someone who's forced to kind of very, very reluctantly take on this mantle of having to be, a noble and more heroic person than he is. But he does it bitching and complaining the whole way, all the way through, end of the series. The thing that I like the most about it, though, is its core message. I was talking, Alexis and I were talking the other day, and she said, I've only gotten through 2 episodes because it is so sexual and so very violent. And that's the point.
Yeah.
The point of that show is that we have become desensitized to the suffering of other people. And the only way that the creator could make that point was to create a situation, wow, I'm echoing really bad, was to create a world and a series of situations that were so outrageously violent that after a while, as a viewer, you become desensitized to it. And then right as you do, Greg's character, who is probably one of the sickest, most evil characters I've ever seen in any anime, sings home the message about people don't care anymore. It doesn't matter anymore because nobody's affected by what they see. And you look at what's going on in this country and you look at what's going on in that country and nobody cares. And really it takes the sickest character in the show to point out the moral message of it. And I love that. And incidentally, I love the ending because I know what the ending means. Mm-hmm. So everybody debates and argues and discusses. I believe if I'm not mistaken, Matt Greenfield spoke with the mangaka and told us what the ending was, and I get it. I completely get it, and I'm not going to say what it is. I will tell you guys afterwards if you want, because one of the wonderful things about that show is that show, we recorded it 7 years ago, and people are still coming up to me wanting to debate and discuss what the ending is. Well, isn't that great for any work of art?
Yeah.
To have people still 7 years later after it's come so good. Well, I think it means this. Well, no, I think you're completely wrong. It means this. The fact that people can still do that is kind of a testament to what they did with that ending. And a lot of people hate it and a lot of people love it because they don't know what it means. And I do. But I'm not telling.
It's a great, I like stuff like that.
Yeah, I do too. I like something that'll keep you talking and thinking.
Yeah. Well, let me see. Want another question? Let me see. I love that you. Okay, this is from Jean. I love that you hold mock combat cigars.
Oh,
yes.
my passion.
What got you started in that?
Talk about
my
that.
passion.
Passion.
Because if anyone here has anyone here actually been to one of his mock combat panels? Okay,
Carly,
awesome.
you don't count.
So y'all know how firsthand how awesome it is.
Carly does count because she's my assistant. So.
For those of you that have not ever been, and you ever have the chance to go to one, you really, really should.
No, you can come back, Carly. I didn't mean it.
You chased her. I don't think.
Okay, cool.
But sorry, I'm sorry. But
no. Go ahead and explain what it is, and then I'll talk a little bit about it.
Well, it's. I just got to see you do one for the first time
today.
I've been aware of you doing this for a while, but we're always scheduled at the same time,
I know.
so I can't see you, and it ticks me off because my boyfriend comes and takes thousands
amazing pictures,
action shots of his work, and it's like 2 hour panel, right?
It's 2 hour. 2 hour. It's anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. I can go.
Okay. Yeah.
I love having 3 hours, but it's really hard since I do both a beginning and an intermediate class to ask for a con to give up 6 hours of programming time in a large enough space to do that. So I generally ask for 2 to 2.5, but I've been a fight geek all my life. I have loved stage combat. It started as a child in Houston with a production of Oliver. I played Oliver. And if you've ever seen Oliver done well, Oliver gets the crap beaten out of him and kicked out of him and thrown and tossed. And they had some wonderful stuff. The guy who played Bill Sykes was about a head taller than you and much broader. And I was like 4'6" maybe, and about 80 or 90 pounds. And he would literally scoop me up and slam me down on a table. And in order to do all that, we had a fight director who came in and worked with us. And I was about 12 or 13 then. And I became absolutely fascinated with the fact that you can make it look like you are seriously hurting somebody when in reality you are taking care of them and protecting them from getting hurt. And you know, I try to be like a peaceful warrior, and so I am actually Mr. Anti-Violence. I don't fight with people. If you're going to get into a fight with me, well, then fine, hit me. Because I'm not fighting back. Closest I come to violence is like wrestling with a girlfriend, and that's not really violence. That's foreplay. I know. TMI.
Only if you yell surprise first.
Only if you yell surprise. Is that it? But I you know, after that, I really anybody that could teach me something, I was willing to study with them. I was willing to work with them, and then gradually, one of my mentors, when he was unavailable for stuff, he's like, "Well, you'll need to use Chris. He's very, very good." And so all of a sudden, my first real gig was. Didn't start me out easy. Extremities, which is a rape assault that happens on stage, and then the rest of the show they turn the tables and they are beating the crap out of him for the rest of the show. So it's a real hardcore thing to go into for your first show as a fight director. And then I kept getting smaller gigs, and then with the national tour of Peter Pan. A wonderful guy who just passed away 2 or 3 years ago named Jim Alexander. He and I kind of did the fight direction for that. That was 6 months into the run after our lead had gotten hurt. And Jim and I had been complaining for months, and they said, "Oh well." And Jim was the swing for the show. So he sat out every night watching. So they made him fight captain and me his assistant, and we literally broke down every fight. We reset every single fight for the show. And the workshop came about, as I say at the beginning. I got tired of going to conventions and seeing cosplay skits where the fight work was either A, unsafe, B, poorly staged, or C, all of the above, which all of those to me are unacceptable. And it finally came to a head when Ken and a Ryu were doing a fight for a brand new convention, and Ken put his foot through the wall of a brand new convention center and had to be carted off to the hospital because he had like broken ankle or foot or something like that. I was just throwing a fit. I was just furious, angry. And Jen Scott Frazier said, who, for those of you who've never met Jen, she's an amazing woman. Jen said, "Well, Chris, you teach stage combat in schools and for theaters and things like that, and you need to put up or shut up. You're one of the only people working on the convention circuit who actually does this often for a living, and you need to do this." And true to my form, I said, "Okay, I'll think about it," because I'm a procrastinator. And Jan was not one to take things lightly. Jan called the next con I was going to and said, "Oh, you need to get Chris Ayres Mock Combat for Cosplay Workshop." I didn't even come up with the name of my signature panel. Jan Scott Frazier did. So that's kind of how it evolved. And then Carly Mosier has been working as my stage combat assistant and an assistant fight director and fight captain for me, God, forever. It's easily 8 or 9 years now. And she's been fighting for me on stage since she was 17. And so that's quite a while. And hello. That's okay.
Welcome,
and
welcome.
Hey, Tia.
Tia Butters.
Anyway, so I was really glad when she'd started working as a voice actress, because I will tell you, pound for pound, she's one of the best female combatants. No, I'm sorry, the best female combatant I've ever worked with. Her work is incredibly safe. It is.
Notice we're saying this while she's out of the room.
It is amazingly. No, I've said this in front of her. It's amazingly inventive. And if I'm working on a show and I need somebody who has no fight skills to up their game quickly, I partner them with her during workshops. so that they see how they need to be thinking and how they need to be working. And that's why I can take a fighter from 0 to 60 in almost no time if I partner them with Carly. And then I have another person who's very good. So I was really glad when Carly started doing conventions, because I'm like, oh, good, I've got somebody to help me teach this workshop now. Because I mean, there are times like Anime Boston. My first year doing it in Boston, we had like 174, 176 people fighting at the same time.
Oh my
God! And I'm trying to watch everyone in the room and make sure that.
No, wait. Do that again. No.
Exactly. And that becomes, I've been very lucky in the entire time that I've been doing the workshops. We've had one injury. Mm-hmm. It was someone who did not listen to something very specific that I said. And it was very sweet. I got this email from him about a week after everything. And he said, his sweetest letter, he said, look, I don't want you to cancel, to stop doing this workshop. It is far too important. I got injured because I didn't listen to you. And please don't let that stop you, because this could help so many people. And please continue. And I was like, wow, that's a really neat guy. So, yeah.
And I think it's beautiful, the philosophy behind it. Because, I mean, I have to say, having watched you do a full workshop, or the full first beginning workshop this morning, was fantastic. I mean, it's awesome.
It's the most fun I have at a convention. I'm a fight geek. I'm a fight geek.
I'm so moved and touched that it stems from this place where you're like, it looks horrible and violent, but it's really all about protecting.
It is all about, your number one rule is take care of your partner. Your number one rule is take care of everyone else in the area around you. Your number 3 concern is your own safety. And that's,
I love that.
That's the way I work.
I love that.
I love it too. I'd say, I'm very happy if like I said, if the anime thing stopped today, I'd go back to theater and continue fight directing and still have a great time. I would miss getting to meet a lot of the attendees, but I'm very happy when let me stage a fight, and I'm real happy. So,
yay.
Another question.
Well, you mentioned theater actually, and
yes.
Several times.
Big theater geek.
And I'm trying to find it because there was
I'm a geek
question.
for many things.
It was I forget who it was from. It's somewhere in here. So whoever it is, thank you. But it was I talk about. Do you have because you have a lot of theater experience?
Yes.
As you've grown up in it. It's
yes,
been
I
part of your
started
life.
working professionally when I was 6. I started studying at 5 with a lady in Richmond, Virginia named Una Harrison, who was trained at RADA. And so very much my beginning training was very much the European style. And you and I have talked a lot about, working inside out to working outside in. And so, a lot of my sense of discipline and stuff like that comes from Auntie Una. But yeah, I've been working most of my life. I've been lucky enough to work on Broadway, do several national tours, several regional tours, educational, dinner theater, regional theater.
So safe
you name it.
Safe to say that at this point in your life, somebody were to ask you, what do you feel about theater? That's as nonsensical question as you could formulate. I mean, I might as well ask you how you felt about your feet or your hands.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So having with that kind of broad background in something like that, has there ever been a particular theatrical role? And I like to talk about theatrical roles because they are very different than what we voice actors usually get to talk about at cons. And I love for people that have stage experience, because I know a lot of people that come to conventions have stage experience or strive to.
Who here in this room has some sort of stage experience, be it music,
that
theater,
is so awesome.
See, look,
that is
most
awesome.
of the room has raised their hand. That is so cool.
And that's really
Ryan,
cool.
Weren't you Peter Pan? What? Weren't you Peter Pan? Oh.
No, I wish.
You should be Peter Pan.
I would cast you as
We'll
Peter
make
Pan.
it happen.
It's Ryan.
Yes,
I didn't even see you.
Is there a particular theatrical role you've had the chance to play
Absolutely.
that changed you as a person?
Ooh, okay, now that's slightly different.
Yeah, because we all have favorites, and I know I hate asking the favorite question because it's a hard one to answer. I mean, do you have a favorite? You can start with that.
Yeah, I'll start with my favorite that I've ever done. The favorite that I have never done yet is Cyrano de Bergerac, which I'm dying to do that. My favorite that I've ever done is Harry wrote and Wait Until Dark. And it was amazing because I've got a very different take on villains, especially for theater. A lot of times with anime, you've got set circumstances. You want to go kind of undertone, and the villain's going. Evil face. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to marry the character design. My rote walked into that first scene with the guys, completely chipper, completely up, kind of funny, a little bit quirky. And it wasn't until they went in to the other room and saw that he had killed a woman and left her body strangled in the other room, and they came out, was when everything started to shift. And it still never left this very quiet, very nice, sometimes humorous, always quirky. And gradually that character for me got darker and darker through the show until the end, where I'm absolutely terrorizing Susie. And probably the biggest compliment I've ever gotten as an actor is I walked out of the theater, the first preview, and there was a girl who had worked for me for years, very good friend. She and I had almost dated for a while. And I came up and I was like, oh my God. And I went to hug her and she's like, please don't touch me. And I was like, sweetie, it's what? I'm like, yeah, I showered. And she's like, no, I'm real hypersensitive to anything that you do. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you really scared me. You came out and you were you. And I was like, because I'd never seen you on stage, and it was just you up there, and it was you, and it was you, and then it was you a little darker, and then it was you really dark, and then it was you really scaring me, and then it was you. I was horrified at the things that you were doing, but it never stopped. There was that sense that it was just you, and I never knew you had that darkest side to you. And she was just completely freaking out. And I was so complimented, but at the same time, this was my friend, and I really wanted to hug her. And it took her about 30 minutes before she would come up and say, really good job. So that to me, revelation probably for me was kind of something Greg talked about earlier. I got the opportunity when I was younger to work with one of my heroes in theater, and that was Anthony Newley. I've been a huge fan of Tony Newley's for years. Dr. Dolittle. He wrote the song "The Candyman." You know, and he had this amazing weird kind of voice when he sang. You know, and he was doing a musical that was workshopping in Houston, based on the life of someone else that I go ooga booga about, and that's Charlie Chaplin. And Newley was playing Chaplin as an adult during his film career, and they needed someone to play Chaplin as a teenager during all of the vaudeville years. Mm-hmm. And I went and auditioned for Anthony Newley myself, and I was like, and got cast. And worked for 8 weeks in rehearsal with Tony, and he was one of the nicest, kindest, most gentle human beings. And one of the most amazing things that hit me about how to treat people. On opening night, he had his manager there, his wife was there, and his 3 kids. His agent was there. Paul Schaefer was there. His 2 children by what is her name? Joan Collins were there. And I will tell you what, his daughter looks like her mother when she was young, with her father's sense of humor. And that is a winning combination. And he had wanted me because he kept wanting to set me up with his daughter. And I was like, oh, great. Yeah, sure. And in the midst of all of this, I'd come back. He had asked for me to come back and had introduced me to his daughter and was talking to everybody. And the room was packed. And one of the ladies in the ensemble, very small role in the ensemble, knocked on the door. And she poked her and she said, Mr. Newley, my mother is here tonight. And she has been a big fan of yours for a long time. He said, oh, bring her in. And I kid you not, this to me was amazing. Hang on, I've got to physically demonstrate this. He sat a chair down across from him. And this older lady came in, and he sat just like this, one-on-one. I'm sitting right in Michael Tatum's face. Sitting just like this, one-on-one.
There was a better way to phrase that.
I know. But literally, I didn't say on his face. But, you know, a lot of times there would be a lot of times where you'd be like, yeah. And you're not even listening. You're trying to communicate with somebody across the room. There was none of that. Mm-hmm. He was absolutely anything she wanted to ask. He was happy to talk to her about. And it was, you know, with your wife that you've not seen in 8 weeks, your kids that you haven't seen in a couple of months, your agent, your manager, Paul Schaefer. There were a lot of people more important to him, but there wasn't anyone more important to him than that person who his work meant the world to, that his work was very important. And that was a real lesson. And I was like, and I was sitting there, I was like, wow, that's amazing. And his daughter says, what? And I said, here are all these people that are so important to him, and he's got time for this lady that he's never met before. And she's like, that's Dad.
Aww.
And so, I love it when somebody has always been kind of a hero and you get to meet them, and they turn out to be a really nice person. Had that recently with Michael Berryman. Oh, just did a con with Michael Berryman from The Hills Have Eyes. The nicest guy you would ever want to meet. He is so nice.
Can I tell a story on this subject?
I don't know.
Please do.
Look at her, she's old.
Please do. I need a sip of my drink.
Yeah, please take a sip of your drink. I love that you call that a drink. That really should be called something else.
It's the sippy cup of doom.
Sippy cup of doom. I'll take that. But talking about this man, I have just shut up and take it. I want to say this because I don't get to talk about this very often, and I don't have but this is a story I'd love to tell.
Me.
No, I hope not.
Okay.
Unless you're just a sensitive little bitch.
I am.
No, but when I was just starting out in this industry, and this is meant to illustrate how much this man exemplifies this hero figure he just spoke of. When I say just started out, I mean I wasn't even really a voice actor. I did it part-time. I had a horribly dead-end career in advertising that I hated. Never really could see the end of it, though. Thought, I'm just going to be doing this forever. It's what it is. And the few times I got to voice act were awesome. It was an escape, but I never thought of it as a career. I never thought, whatever. I'm a bit guy. I'm that guy. And Speedgrapher, I got to do Speedgrapher.
Oh, yeah.
So
Speedgrapher fans,
I'm
yes.
taking some Speedgrapher fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got that
Now
was
we know
my
who the twisted people are.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
That was my second role ever.
And you are freaking amazing in it.
Thank you. But I got to hear this guy playing Suitengu, the main. Well, he's the villain. He's much more complicated than a villain, but he is for all intents and purposes the villain. And I'm just a one-off villain. I'm there for a couple of episodes, and then we don't see him again. And I had never done a role like that before. I was just finishing up Samurai 7, and the role was extremely
How different. Is that? Did I turn this off? Is this working?
Yeah.
No, it's still on. No, and we, so I go from playing this incredibly frightened, bit of a whiny bitch of a character that was really good guy, but the reluctant hero, we call him. He's very much does the right thing, but he does not enjoy doing it because he's terrified. Yeah, it's definitely some similarities, and you go from playing that character for several months to playing this character who in his first scene breaks a little girl's arm because he's trying to teach her how to dance and he doesn't think she's any good, and in front of her mother just breaks her arm. I mean, that's an intense opening scene, right? So I played this, and then it was all of an afternoon's recording, and then I was done, and I thought, oh my God, that's the second thing I've ever done. Wow, what a great opportunity. And months later, the show came out, and I happened to be in Houston, and there was a convention going on. Christopher Bevins, the show's director, is a dear friend of mine, and one of the best damn directors I've ever worked with on anything.
Wonderful. He is wonderful.
Calls me up and says, "Hey, we're previewing a few episodes of Speedgrapher here at this convention. You should stop by." And I thought, "Oh yeah, definitely. I'd like to kind of And I hadn't done a convention before, and
you'd never been to one. That's
I had never been to one. Not in that capacity.
Right,
I'd been a fan, but never to a convention as someone that's going to sit up on a panel and watch something with everyone. I was really nervous. And on top of all that, Bevins tells me, "Oh, by the way, Chris Ayres, the guy that plays Suitengu, would like to meet you and say hello." And I'm thinking, why? What did I say? What did I do wrong? Because in my head, at the time, being just this little nobody who's done 2 roles and is not even a full-time actor and didn't consider himself an actor at all at the time, just a lucky guy that got to have fun occasionally doing this stuff in an industry, anime, which I love. Here, I'm like, why does a real actor want to talk to me? What is that all about? What's going on? And so, and it was, I'll never forget it. You set me down. When I finally met him, I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And
I know, I'm looking at him going, He thought I was going to be taller.
Really?
He thought I was going to be a lot taller. I can tell by the look on his face. He's like, wow, he's little.
But yeah,
You sure how
it was
tall?
really fun. I'm about 6'3",
And I'm 5'4". So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But he sat me down, and here I am, just this nervous wreck, sweating bullets, shaking, meeting this guy whose work I'm very familiar with, and who I'm ecstatic I get to say that I'm in a show with him, even though I'm like, oh my God. And he sits me down and tells me, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm really impressed with your stuff.
I was
really,
floored.
and in so many words says, you need to pursue this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like you to. I would like to hear more of you.
Yes.
And I'm just like, getting to hear that from someone who's your hero is like, you can't. I love that we're great friends now.
Yes, absolutely.
And we are.
Yes, absolutely.
You're like a brother to me. But
Yes.
but at the time, holy shit. So that's my way of saying thank you, because now I do this all the time, and I'm much happier doing this than I was
Isn't this
after.
guy great? Like, seriously.
Yeah, Michael is wonderful.
Well, I've had a lot of awesome people help me along the way, and you've always been one of the
God
top.
bless you. Thank you.
Enough of this sappy shit.
Sorry.
Here
So,
it goes.
see what you want to open the floor to some.
Yeah, I think it's about time.
Okay, let's open the floor.
Fans,
Thank you so
comments
much.
are also
We do
appreciated,
take
even if it's like,
comments
why
and
am I
compliments
here?
too. Mostly compliments.
Okay, this one's mostly for the unofficial One Piece podcast.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem.
Those my
love them.
boys.
Yo, big bro, what's up?
What's your question?
It's kind of two things. The first one is, I've been dying to hear this from Tatum in quite a while. Can you say banana me again? In Inaru's voice.
Oh, yeah, without the muffled phoneness of it.
Oh yes. For anyone who doesn't know what he's
Look
talking
right at
about,
you,
there's when one of the first scenes we see Inaru, the Skypiea arc main villain in One Piece. He has this beautiful young girl just hand him a banana while he eats it, and the original line, because it fit the flaps and we thought it was hilarious, was him just in the middle of this conversation.
I know.
I know, right? Dog's like, no.
That was the dog's question.
He turns to the girl and with this banana for her to peel and just goes, banana me. I thought that was hysterical, and Mike McFarlane, the show's line producer and director for much of it, saw that and was like, we can't do that. It's too funny. It's really funny, but it's too funny. So we had him say, like, peel this for me or something. Or peel this, please. That was like,
Bananas in One Piece are
But
just fun.
banana me. So I love to say banana me. And you have to say da 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 banana me.
No, yeah, but with Mike McFarlane last year at YuleCon, they were trying to get us to get out of the main viewing room. We were watching Line Barrels, and instead of leaving, we're like, no. We started singing like do 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 banana gator do 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 banana gator. And Mike's like, I'll leave when I'm good and ready. Banana gator.
Remind me that story in a minute. I've got a follow up from Dragon Ball Kai. for that.
All right. So that was you had a second part?
And the second part, I heard they also like Dragon Ball Z Kai. So I was just wondering, just a quick little argument between Frieza and Inaru. I know it's weird as
Frieza
hell.
and
Oh my God.
Two divas.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'll just get the ball rolling on this one. Inaru is a big douchebag from One Piece, who's the god of lightning, basically, and he's a homicidal fucknut.
Much like Frieza.
Yeah, much like Frieza. And like Frieza, he thinks everything he says is fucking hysterical,
Yes.
while everyone around him is dying.
Yes.
He's like, and he's just big and brash and
All right.
ridiculous and bored with everything until people die. And then he's like, no, this is interesting. So, let's see. So, bickering? This
Oh
bickering?
God, bickering is always so hard to do.
What do you want, little man? I don't have all day.
Oh, am I too small for you? Is that it?
Is that how you fly around, that little egg-shaped chair?
Yes. There we are.
Son of a bitch.
That is good enough.
And her just going, oh, fuck.
You notice I skipped second phase. I went right to Yes.
Son of a...
That's good.
No, very quickly, another tie-in with Dragon Ball. Yes, we had a moment that, and this is so funny. I think it made it onto the DVD. There's this moment that Sabbath went, as good as the writing was, Sabat found a joke that was brilliant. You know, the Grand Namekian who looks much like Jabba the Hutt. There's this moment where Frieza blasts a hole in the wall and floats all the way up and addresses him. And I believe the translation was, well, sir. Slight pause and monologue. So we were going to record that. And Sabat goes, no, wait a minute, I got it. Try that. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. Okay. So, hole blown in the wall. Up he floats. He looks at the Grand Namekian and he goes, hey, Fats. And starts talking.
That probably did make it in.
So here's, and Sabat was like, love it, we're keeping that. Hey, Fats is so insulting to him and so not, this guy's the Grand Namekian. He's like, yo, toots. And it also is a play on his weight. Well, I come back to record the next set of episodes, and Sabat goes, yeah, we got to re-record that line. I'm like, what do you mean? Which line? He said, hey, Fats. I'm like, why? Apparently, network television felt that it was insensitive to people of weight. So we had to change hey, Fats to well, sir. Which was what was originally written, but I think on the
like
DVD.
The Hey Fats.
I think on the DVD.
Yeah, the DVD would be.
It's still going to be Hey Fats.
Version. Oh, that's hilarious.
Which is God, that is just.
Oh my God.
Well, thank you for that.
That was really.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? More stuff? Come on
up.
Sir.
Come on up.
All right. Just two things. First, what do you think was the most messed up anime you had to dub? And secondly, random message: Batman farted, so it's time for us to all have sex with chickens. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Batman
Thanks,
farted.
Carl.
What
Maybe
is
the guy in
the
the bookstore
disturbing
was-
anime I've worked on? Well, very little disturbs me.
Yeah.
So probably Hello Kitty Animation Theater, which I had a great time, but I don't know. No, very little disturbs me.
Very little disturbs me. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
we did
I'm a
Red,
horror fanatic.
Where, that's messed up.
I'm with them. Very little disturbs me. I like the dark stuff, but
Love dark stuff.
I got to be one of the leads in a show called Shiguri, which is
Shiguri Death Frenzy.
Death Frenzy, which is
great show.
I think
Love that show.
It is bleak, desperately violent, and frightening and dark, and absolutely a work of art in my opinion.
No, I was getting ready to say the violence in it takes on almost artistic beauty.
And that's precisely what's disturbing about it, is because the violence it's done in a very realistic style.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
It's not very the stylized.
Death Frenzy,
the violence is not stylized. I mean, it is very realistic,
it's
and
really rough.
And there's a point where I know there's one scene written which I won't describe to you, but it's the only time I've ever seen a writer note when the writer says, "I nearly vomited writing this."
Wow,
because
nice.
it's just that well done.
Very nice.
And it was weird. What I found disturbing about it was the fact that not so much the violence, which I'm not disturbed by violence because I am disturbed by it. If that makes any sense, like I react to it by going, and I'm like, okay, that means I'm human. Cool, let's keep watching.
Opposed to me who goes, how cool!
Yeah. Well, I do the how cool afterwards. I'm like, oh God, still human, cool, and it's a very complex process. But I was really, I was when you can do violence so realistically and yet so beautifully, it takes you to a very weird place in your own head. And having to play the character that was in the midst of all that and the cause of much of the violence was really a lot of fun and very, very dark. So.
I didn't mean disturbing. I mean, like the type of anime that makes you go, what the hell are these people smoking when they fought around?
Oh, I am.
We don't do that.
I am very
because
good
that
friends with
affects the
Shinichi Watanabe, Nabashin. And if you think his shows are strange and off the wall and unusual, you try spending an evening at dinner with him. These two guys, we just had dinner with Nabashin, where he made me explain to his wife through a translator what the shocker was. And literally, and the Japanese guest relations people, because he wanted to sit with the English guests. And we were sitting, and people wanting pictures, and every time somebody would want a picture, he'd go, hey, shaka! Shaka! Here are all of the other Japanese guests being very polite, and there's Nabashin going, yeah!
I've never. I can't think of a single show that's ever done that. I'm sure there are, but I'm so very hard to go, oh, whatever. I mean,
I'm the same way.
Sometimes it's just shows that I think are really, really light and fluffy because I don't consider myself a light and fluffy person at all. And I'm like, who thinks this is light and fluffy? This is depressing. If everything were this blue and pink, I'd fucking shoot myself. But I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me. I mean, I can't think of any specific instance where I've been like,
That was Chris snorting, by the way.
I've been like, my God.
Sorry about that.
One more animal shows me magical powers. Fuck. But I mean, part of me also loves that stuff too. But if you're in that mood where you're just like, God, I just got done working on Shiguri, like going from that to Save Me Lollipop is a very fucked up transition.
That's why I said Hello Kitty.
Like, wow, okay, cool. And so that kind of stuff, it's funny, but I think we have time for maybe
more questions?
One or two
more questions.
Go for it.
This man.
Yes, thank you. This is primarily for Chris. Now,
Okay.
I happen to be writing an online manga that eventually someday I plan to turn into an anime, hopefully. One of the things I've been doing is going around in anime conventions and asking the voice actors, what voice director do you like working with the most? Now, Josh will corroborate this because I asked him this yesterday. But your name,
What
Chris,
was his answer?
Yeah. But your name, Chris, comes up quite a lot in that. But my big question is, what actors or actresses do you enjoy working or directing with the most?
It varies from project to project.
Oh, yeah.
Some actor that is right for one show
Yes, thank you.
is not going to be right for another. I base everything off character design and chemistry between the voices. I have to hear chemistry between the voices, and that's what casts somebody for me. I've never the only thing that I've ever come close to pre-casting on was we had to do a little bit for Xenosaga, because I had to have some actors that sounded exactly like the characters in the game.
Yeah.
And in that case, I knew that we had 3 actors that were voice matches for actors in the game, and I said, well, I'm still going to audition them. And my producer said, no, you're not. Why are you going to waste studio time and money? You're casting them. I'm telling you right now, cast those 3 people. I think they sound just like the game, so you're casting them. And I was like, okay, but you're casting them, not me. He's like, fine, whatever you want to say. I just want to save us, an extra hour and a half of recording time that we could be seeing somebody else that is right.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So that's been the only time I've ever precast anything, be that for stage or for anime. So it would depend on the show. You'd have to give me time with the materials, because my thought is as a director, I've got to get the best person for the job. So why would I limit myself to the same actor? Where Michael would be good for something for one show, the role in another show might be better handled by Josh or Ian or Terri.
Yeah.
And then in another show, Michael's going to be right. I never say, oh no, I'm just using this person. That's never going to happen with me.
Well, yeah, and if you do that, you also stop yourself from meeting the new actors trying to get into the business.
Well,
exactly.
I really mean more like, who do you find easy to work with? The studio really takes the directions that you really
I can't name names like that. I'm not gonna because that will insult some people who think that they are easy to work with, and will cause other people that were easy to work with become much more large-headed than they need to be. So I'm not gonna. I know actors' egos. I've been directing theater.
Everyone that's been on that's worth a damn, will cast, and that includes every voice actor in this room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I'm just sorry that I've not gotten to work with Alexis or Tia or Ian really as actors. I'm really sorry.
They're fantastic.
Or you, actually.
I know.
The only actor in this room I've been able to work with is Greeley. Because Carly's not here anymore. My brother's not here anymore. I know. No, Josh knows I love him. He's one of my best friends. Well, we've not had any of my other geekdoms. I thought with you here horror movies, with you here Doctor Who.
We could have.
We never talked about Shakespeare.
Hours. Well, that's just an inducement for you to come back.
Oh, okay.
And do another show with us.
Yeah, we have people return all the time.
All right.
You and your brother have been awesome.
Yeah, cool.
So.
Thank you guys. I had a good time doing it.
Everyone.
I have now got to go make a letter of the alphabet that is not the letter poop.
But before you do, everyone, please give Chris Ayres a warm round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
And give yourselves a round of applause. You've been awesome sitting with us for the past hour.